Okay, I'm back again, an Intune expert. What we're going to do today is go through the setup and configuration of the iOS device. We're going to enable iOS, iPad, and macOS management through Intune. So, the first thing we want to do is set up enrollment for iOS devices. And in order to do that, we have to set up our APN, and that's Apple Push Notification. So we're going to start by going to Devices, Enroll Devices, and navigate to Apple Enrollment. And as you can see, this is not enabled. These tabs here are grayed out. So we will start by going to the Apple MDM Push Certificate to get started. And as you can see, it's not set up at all. And we're going to go ahead and start. Click agree. And then go down here and click download the CSR. Let's get the CSR in a location we want to use it from. I think I'll just drop it on my data drive. Okay, now I have my CSR. Now that we have the CSR, we have to create a MDM push certificate. And the way we do that is you click this link here and it'll take you to Apple to create the certificate. And yes, you have to have an Apple ID. Now, this Apple ID is not a consumer Apple ID. It's not the normal Apple ID that you use to log into the Apple Store to download apps. This is an Apple ID that is connected to your organization. So it's actually a business Apple ID. And I will create another link to show you how to set up a business Apple ID. So now let's move on. I'm going to click this link and go to Apple. And I'm not sure if this is my Apple ID. It is not. But you won't see it anyway. Put my Apple ID in here. Okay, I was able to get into my Apple ID. Had to find the password. Sorry about that. Now let's go ahead. Once you're here, which is identity.apple.com. Once you're here, you go ahead and click Create Certificate. Put a little checkbox against the agreement of terms and conditions, and then click Accept. Here you just want to give it a little note because these certificates only last a year, so you do want to monitor this. So this will be for Intune Expert Intune 10. Now you navigate to the CSR you downloaded earlier. I believe I'll put that on my data drive. Select the CSR, click Upload. As you can see, confirm. You have successfully created a new push certificate with the following information. Now we want to go ahead and download our APN. APN and put it in a location where I can remember where it's at. Okay, before I move on, let me give you a couple helpful tips. When you set up Intune to work with Apple Business Manager and enable enrollment with the push notification certificate, if you ever lose this information, like lose the password to the Apple ID and have to recreate it, and all this happens right at the end of this year where you need to update this APN certificate. Now keep this in mind. If you update the certificate with the same Apple ID, you're good. If you lose that information and have to create another Apple ID and then think you're going to create a new Apple APN at the end of that year and then use it, if you do that, meaning that if you're using a different Apple ID to create another APN, and if you upload that to Intune, which is managing existing devices, all of those devices will not work. You will have to re-enroll every single device. Now, if you update the APN at the end of the year utilizing the same Apple ID, you will have no problem. It will just update and devices will continue to be managed. Okay, we got that done. So now we have our APN and we want to upload this to Intune. So let's go back to our Intune portal. And as you can see, we left off at the same page that we're actually going to use. Even if you close this page while you did everything, it is still valid. Because if you download the CSR again, it is actually the same information. So at this point, all I have to do is put the Apple ID in that I will be using. No password is needed here. And then navigate to find your APN. Select the APN, click upload, monitor the status. As you can see, your APN push certificate was successfully created. I'm done. At this point, Intune is able to enroll iOS devices, iPad devices, and MacOS devices. Okay, now before we go any further, we want to create our groups that we're going to be using to manage all of these three different types of devices. So the first group I want to create will be a dynamic group for iOS and iPad devices. So once you click create group, you'll see that you have the group type of security and Microsoft 365. So this will be a security group, but I'm gonna start down here and select dynamic device. And as you can see, you can have a dynamic user group as well. We've been previously using assign, so that's manually assigned groups for users or devices. So we're gonna select dynamic device. I always give my groups an owner. It's just good practice. And I'm gonna give myself a name for this group, and I'm gonna call this one INT for Intune, G for group, and devices iOS. I usually just put the same group name down here for the description. I'm not going to use this for role assignments, and I'm gonna add my dynamic rules. So I already have my dynamic rules created, and I will have a list of all the dynamic rules that I have created for this video in the description below. So here, since I already have my syntax created, I don't need to use the expression to build it. I can go over here and click edit and paste in my rules, making sure that I use the text paste option. And then click OK. And then you can see the expressions up here. iOS device type contains iPhone or iPad. Okay? So now we're going to go ahead and click save. And we're going to go ahead and create. Now that first save was saving the syntax. Now we have created that group. We should see that here. Let me go ahead and refresh. And there you go. And there you go right there. Let me go back in here. I do not want to use the G in this environment. So I have uses for these letters. So just bear with me for a minute. Okay, now let's create our next group. The next group we're going to create is actually going to be another iOS type device group, except that this will be iOS for BYOD devices. So again, a security group, give it a name. In this case, this is going to be devices. iOS -BYOD. That means for personal devices. And again, give myself an owner for that group. And we're going to use a dynamic device group. Select add dynamic query. Now let me go get my query statement, which will be this guy right here. And again, all I need to do is click edit because I already have my command set. Use the paste text option and click OK. And as you can see, this will be device type contains iOS and iPad, and device ownership contains personal for BYOD devices. Go ahead and click save and then create the group. Now we're going to create our next group. Security, a dynamic device, give it an owner, select, and give it a name. This one is going to be pretty much the same. Oh, not that. int-devices iOS-corp for corporate devices. Now add our dynamic rules. Click the edit option, paste in using the text option, backspace to put that caret back up to the top line, and click OK. And as you can see, device type contains iPhone or iPad, and device ownership contains company for corporate devices. Click save and click create to create the group. We have a few more groups to create, and you will see how important these groups become once we get into further configurations. So I'm gonna go ahead and speed through the rest of these groups and show you all the groups that I've created. And again, I will have the list of groups and the syntax for each dynamic group in the description below. I'll be right back. Okay, there you have it. I've created all of the groups that I need to manage the environment and manage iOS devices. And as you can see earlier, I set up things for Windows, and I just completed creating all of these groups here, and I'll tell you what these groups will be used for. Now, just to focus in on those groups, this first group right here is all BYOD devices, no matter the device type. So it will pick up every device type that is a personal device, whether it's Mac, iPad, iPhone, and I believe Windows as well. Keep this in mind. Whenever you create a dynamic group, it is not immediately populated, but it does take up to 2 minutes for that group to become populated, so it's not very long. The next one is corporate devices. So this will pick up any device type that is a managed corporate device. This group right here will pick up any iOS device, so that means you will find iPads and iOSs in this device, iPads and iPhones in this group. And in this group you will only find personal devices, but it will also be iPads and iPhones of personal devices. Same for corporate, except it will be corporate devices, iPads and iPhones. These next three groups are specifically for Mac because they are managed a bit differently. And in a lot of cases, some organizations vote to add Jamf Pro to Intune to manage Macs. Now, listen to this. Jamf Pro is not an alternative to Intune. It enables Intune to manage more properties and features for the Mac. So keep that in mind. It is not a replacement for Intune. It works together with Intune, hand in hand. Now this first group is for any Mac device, whether it's corporate or personal. The next one will only pick up personal devices that are Macs, and the next one will pick up corporate devices that are Macs. And that is our groups. Okay, now we're going to create an enrollment type profile. Let's start by going to Devices, Enroll Devices, and select Apple Enrollment. Then navigate down to Enrollment Targeting for enrollment types. Even though it is in preview, it is heavily used. Now we're going to click Create Profile. And this is only for iOS and iPad, as you can see. We're going to give it a name, and I think we're going to call this one, we're going to call this iOS Device Enrollment. Config. Go ahead and click Next. And at this point, we're not going to leave it up to the user. We're going to enroll by device. Click Next. And we're not going to target any group as of yet. Go ahead and click Next. Review your settings that you have set up, which is not many. And then go ahead and click Create to create the profile. Now that's pretty much it. We're just going to assign this to our corporate and personal devices. So we're going to go ahead and click on it, click Properties, Edit for Assignments, and then we're going to add a group. And the two groups we're going to add will be for our iOS personal and our iOS corporate. Now, yes, I can target this guy right here, and that'll target all devices. So as you can see, that would be a choice, but I like to kind of specify it out, because if there was another administrator in here, he could see both groups and know that, hey, he's targeting both BYOD and corporate. Go ahead and click Select to add the groups, and then click Review and Save. Not much to review, but that's it, and click Save to create the profile. And there you have it. Now I want to explain and show you something about corporate device identifiers. So to get to the corporate device identifiers, start from the home page, go to devices, enroll devices, and you'll see right up here under the second navigational pane, corporate device identifiers. Now what this is for is to add iOS and iPad, including macOS devices, serial number to this area. And I have one that I need to add that I'm going to use as a test device for this environment. So I'm going to go through the motions while I explain what this is used for. So to start, I'm going to add an iOS device, which is an iPhone. Click on add, and as you can see, you can enter manually or you can upload a CSV, meaning that you can bulk load a lot of serial numbers for devices. So in my case, I'm going to input 1. As you can see, you can enter an IMEI number or a serial number. I tend to use serial numbers because it's kind of available across all 3 devices. And serial numbers are only used on these devices, Android, iOS, and Mac only. So I haven't really used IMEI to know the difference, but for our purposes of this video, we're going to use the serial number. Now, the serial number should be the serial number of the device that you want to add as a corporate device. Let me say that again. You only add corporate device identifiers for devices that you plan to manage as a corporate device. And another important tip, you must have the serial number listed here, uploaded or imported before the device enrolls. And the reason for that is so that this device or the devices that have the serial number here will automatically convert to a corporate device soon as the device is enrolled. Because remember, whenever a user performs the steps and go through the wizard to enroll a device, that actually enrolls the device as a personal device. So if you have plans on managing corporate devices that you've handed out to users that didn't go through ADE, automatic device enrollment, directly from Apple, then this will be the method to get those devices into a corporate managed state. A scenario where this may come is during migrations. You may have a lot of devices on AirWatch or something, and you don't want to necessarily send them all back to Apple just so Apple can provision them and send them back out directly to the users, right? So that you can get that automatic enrollment experience. Well, it's not an automatic enrollment experience, but there is some automation, and part of that is ensuring that the device is corporate. So putting the serial number in this area, in the corporate device identifiers, ensures the device converts to corporate seconds after the device, that sounded funny. Anyway, seconds after the device enrolled into Intune. So let's move forward. I have my serial number for my iPhone device that I'm going to be using for this environment. And I'm going to go ahead and paste it here. And this details section can be anything. It is free form. And I usually like to put the type of the device and the user's name, because this becomes important later on when managing the environment, because you may have some troubleshooting scenarios that you may need to do, and you can go back to this list to search this list to see if a device is either there or not there as part of your troubleshooting efforts. So I'm gonna go ahead and put Lee for my own device, and this device happens to be a Pro Max 11. Go ahead and click add. See, it's adding the identifier. Yes, as you can see, that takes a while. It is not immediate. And there you have it. Now, if and when this device enrolls, it will automatically convert to a corporate device. I will also do this scenario twice, meaning that I will have a corporate device, and I think I have another device over here somewhere. Yeah, I do. And a personal device, so you can see the difference of the two as they enroll into this environment. Like I said, you can use this environment, this area, to troubleshoot or as part of your troubleshooting efforts. And as you can see when this device serial number was added. You can see whether it was contacted or not, and the last time it contacted Intune. So this is also a good way to see if those devices even attempted to enroll. It will tell you the status of that enrollment as well as the last time that device has connected to Intune. And there you have it, corporate device identifiers. Okay, now we're at device enrollment time. With those minimal settings that I set up, we should be able to enroll a iOS device now. And the device I'm going to use is a Pro Max 11 with the case and all into Intune. Okay, so give me a moment while I perform these steps, and then I will put it up on the screen for you to see. Okay, now we have enrolled that device. Now let's take a look at that device and see how it performed during enrollment. And then we're going to look at that device inside of Intune and see the properties of this device. Okay, we're starting enrollment. Well, at least we started the phone up. We have to look for the company portal in the App Store. And we're going to download the company portal. Some parts of this I do speed up, but we're still moving along right now. Now we're going to go ahead and log into the company portal. Enter the password, and this is MFA. And by the way, MFA is on by default when you first set up a tenant for the first time. So everything we're doing is from a brand new tenant. So keep that in mind. MFA is enabled for enrollment by default. Allow notifications and begin the enrollment process, giving us a bit of information. At this point, it's downloading the MDM profile from Intune. Once this part is done, we will have to flip over to settings before we hit continue, as it's explaining to you here. Install and enter the passcode to install the MDM profile. Finish the installation, trust the installation. just as a reminder, this is called user enrollment. This is a user enrollment method that we're going through here. And as you can see, it has the Intune Expert Profile. Now we go back to the company portal, acknowledge that we have downloaded and installed the MDM profile, and this will complete the process. And we're done. 3 devices enrolled. As you can see. Now we're going to go ahead and go into the Intune side. Now that we have enrolled the device, let's go take a look at that device in Intune. From our home page, we're going to go to devices, and this will be iOS devices. And as you can see, I have that one device that I have enrolled. That's simple. Now, as you can see, it's not compliant because we haven't applied any compliance policies or configuration policies, not even apps. So we have 3 devices now assigned in this new environment, and that's 1 iPhone and 2 Windows devices. Now I'm gonna go ahead and install 1 more iPhone device to show you the difference of a personal device. And as you can see, this is a corporate device. Remember when I told you about that device enrollment corporate device identifiers? Now you can see that the device has been contacted, the date added, enrolled, and the last time it was contacted. Now let's move on and enroll a personal device. Hey, we're back. Check it out. So we have just enrolled another device, and I'm not going to go through all of the steps, and as you can see, it's pretty long of steps to just enroll a device in the user way. But I've just enrolled another device, and the only thing different from this enrollment process and the last enrollment process is I did not upload the serial number for the device. So that means that device should come into Intune as a personal device. So let's go look at Intune and look at these devices that we have enrolled. Start out with devices, and since we was talking about iPhones, we're gonna go to iOS and iPad. And here is that second device that I enrolled. And as you can see, this was the first one. And as you can see, one's corporate, one's personal. And the reason why, again, the one is corporate is because I have this serial number and uploaded for the device identifiers for that particular device. Now, if I click on it, I might get some more information. I thought it would give me the device name, but it didn't. So there you have it. Freaking phone gonna ring right when the video starts. I'm gonna go ahead. Hey, man. Hey, I'll call you back. I gotta finish this last video. Shot. All right. Yep. All right. Sorry about that. Yeah. So let's check it out. See if this device has shown up yet. You'll notice I haven't refreshed it yet because I actually wanted to refresh it in front of you. So first I'll try the little inner refresh, and there you have it. 5 devices enrolled, and none of them compliant, as you can see, except for the Windows. Now if we look at it from the all device view, we should have 5 devices in here, all tied to the same account that I've been using. 2 personal, one was the Mac, one was one of the iPhones and a corporate, and we have a corporate and a personal for for our Windows devices. And there you have it. Next, we're going to implement configuration and compliance policies to satisfy this non-compliant. See you soon.